What's up, our family? It's your boy Taylor Payton here today to show you 5 drawing exercises. Now, these 5 drawing exercises are exercises that you can do as a beginner, or they're exercises that you can rock even as you advance because they apply to all forms of drawing. So, let's get started. Okay, so exercise number 1 is straight lines. Because if you can't draw a straight line, then you should do this exercise. All we're going to do is pick one angle and create straight lines. Your wrist will naturally want to move along a certain trajectory based on whether you are right-handed or left-handed or whatever angle your body wants to hit. For me, it's basically this. That is my straight line angle. It's like boom, boom, boom. And those are pretty solid. You know, I haven't warmed up. Those are just straight lines that I can let out, and they're not perfectly straight, but I am not a machine, you're not a machine. If we want perfectly straight lines, we can machine them using the program, and of course they are ridiculously straight, and this is desirable in some instances. But for this exercise, what I really want you to do is to just keep making straight lines until you are pretty much blue in the face. Just attacking it, attacking it, attacking it. The more you repeat this, maybe for 5-10 minutes, take a little break for your wrist, your arm health, all that good stuff, and then do another series of repetitions for another 5 minutes, then you will see just how easy it is to draw straight lines. It'll come so naturally to you, and you'll feel immediately more confident in your drawing. That pretty much brings us into shape sprees. Shape spree is where you go on a spree of shape drawing because everything can be broken down into basic forms. So we use the shapes in order to simplify things that are complex and intimidating and turn them into something that we can draw a little easier. That's basically just rocking your cubes, getting those rectangular prisms down as best as you can. It helps to use the straight line exercise before this one, just because oftentimes your shapes will require straight lines, and if you haven't warmed up, then you will have a more difficult time with that. This is not the best cube or rectangular prism ever, simply because I haven't warmed up. But if I time-lapse this real quick and do a bunch of these, you'll see that it becomes way easier to draw this particular shape, and then I'll switch to another shape. So don't go drawing like cubes and then, draw the cube, draw like, maybe a cone here, maybe a sphere here, because you're going to get diminishing returns because you're scattering all your repetitions across a bunch of different shapes. That's like doing 1 rep of bench press and then going and doing 1 squat and then going and doing 1 deadlift. And yeah, you might circle like that and get a nice cardio full body workout, but your chest isn't going to grow as big. Your muscles aren't going to be as strong in that one lift because, you keep quitting after the first repetition and going around and doing some sort of weird pseudo circuit. So instead, just focus on one shape for a while, because like I said, every form breaks down into some kind of shape, and then once you have that simple shape down, it becomes easier and easier to elaborate upon it. Okay, so next up we have perspective practice. Perspective is so crucial. So crucial. I myself didn't really get into it until I was in college. So I would like for you to develop it sooner than that in your drawing journey, if possible. Otherwise, the best time to start is now. So basically what we're going to be doing is 1-point perspective, and we're just going to be drawing simple shapes, usually just a bunch of cubes. Again, cubes are our greatest friend in drawing, and we're going to just draw a bunch of different shapes in perspective, but we'll start with cubes. So we'll start with this perspective line, which I will do my best to create a straight line across here. Then we will start with a point in space, after which we can toss off a bunch of different lines from that point. All of these lines are going to help us guide the perspective. I go over this way more detailed in my beginner drawing course. You can take a straight line pretty much anywhere in terms of a vertical or horizontal line in 1-point perspective. And once I have the graphic lines laid in, I'll take the corners or the vertices of this shape all the way back here. And if I already know my best angle, I'll just switch the canvas and I'll know that I can hit it a little bit easier. So it's like, bam, pretty close. Not perfect, but pretty close. Then we have this next one. So try to shoot for that. And we'll go a little bit slower. Line got a little bit less polish, but I like this part, so we'll stick with that. And then we can just close this guy off just like that. It's just a great way to get all your shapes in perspective. Again, just practice with cubes, graduate to cylinders. It gets to be really complex if you want, but again, I have perspective exercises in the beginner drawing course. This is just a quick overview of that process of taking vertical and horizontal lines back to the vanishing point using diagonal lines and chopping off the excess so you have your shape. So next we have gestural thumbnails. Gestural thumbnails are some of my absolute favorite because I love to draw characters and creatures and all that good stuff. You just go in with a bunch of different actions and poses and see if you can make something that's really rad with each and every thumbnail. So there's one literally took me just a few seconds, and then we can have another from a different angle, same kind of pose. And I'm just using really simplified, broken down shapes. I'm not worried a crazy amount about the proportions or the perspective, but it bears just to keep them in mind. So I have all these different angles on what is essentially the same action. And as you can see, I'm already getting more confident with that action, more confident with the shapes I'm using to construct the figure and break it down. This is an amazing exercise if you are an animation student, especially a 2D animation student, because you will gradually get stronger and stronger at just creating these different perspectives and different gestures at different angles, and it just starts to become a very addictive exercise. You can fill sketchbook pages with this one, and I know that a lot of you guys are probably going to jump straight to this one. Like, don't even try to lie to me. I see right through you artists out there. I see through you because I am you. These are nice little gestures you can use to warm up. If you want, you can do creatures too. It could be like a creature design. It could be way more about the design than action. So we can draw this sort of bird chocobo thing. And now I have a basis that I could blow up and work from just from a simple thumbnail. This is one of the most powerful exercises I could ever give you for design, for animation, for any kind of art, really. So just take this one and run with it, fill pages and pages with it. This will take you into another realm of potency once you're able to just crank these babies out, use your brain to configure different angles, because you just got done working your perspective exercise, right? You notice we're building on these here? I hope I'm emphasizing that point. I don't mean to belabor it, but it helps you learn, so I kind of do. Okay, last but not least is composition thumbnails. Now this humble box can be used for almost anything you can imagine on the picture plane. It's great for illustrations, which is what I primarily use these boxes for, is to break up illustrations or character concept art sheets. So in terms of an illustration, I would just start to go in and subdivide all these different areas with shapes. And sometimes I'll think foreground, middle ground, background. And it'll start to create an abstract composition. And these are two very samey shapes. So it kind of creates a silhouette. It's almost like a little Batman signal. Like if we had Batman standing in front of his signal, maybe. It's like a double strong shape. It's not symmetrical because we place it on the rule of thirds. And it's like my brain will just generate all these possibilities based off of a thumbnail, and then he's like, I am the knight. Does Batman say that? I think he says I'm the knight or something. I gotta be honest with you guys, I haven't seen Batman in a while. Okay, so the next one, let's just say we have more of a landscape. So we can focus on all these little trees and all these little shapes that we want to include in our landscape, and just kind of go for some sort of focal point. Maybe we're focusing people right here, so we'll add a little more detail. Maybe there's a very interesting tree and a bunch of concentric circles that sort of lead to it. Could be like a crystal or something like that. And so we're getting this layout, this environment down. And again, it can be so sketchy, guys. It doesn't matter. I just want you to do these exercises so that you can understand how to start placing shapes in space. And then, whoa, already we have a very simplified, let me just shade this up real quick, a very simplified composition, which we can then use to create a less simplified illustration. Most of the elements are here. We just got the big shapes in. We just need some details. We have a triangle of focus. It's a good place to be. Last but not least, we'll just do one more, sort of a close-up. We'll make it like an elf chick. Just kidding. No, too much fantasy. Too much fantasy. Instead, we're gonna make it a sci-fi chick. Sci-fi knight chick. Sci-fi knight elf chick? No. No more elves. And she could be holding something up. Maybe it's a piece of the crystal. It's almost like we're storyboarding now. We just took this sequence, excluding Batman. Don't think about Batman. Don't you dare think about Batman. Excluding this sequence, we now have, a tying together of themes. So you could go through and generate a whole page of storyboards for an animation, or you can go through and create a whole comic layout based on whatever kind of paneling schemes you like to use, and try to fill each of these spaces with characters and ideas and backgrounds. It's basically just getting the composition down and learning how you can create all these abstract ideas that fulfill your main idea. So you see, you can figure out what's going to work and what's not going to work right away, like recording when an ambulance is going by your apartment. Probably not going to work. However, I'm going to leave it in because I'm lazy and it's hot in my apartment and I want to turn the AC back on. So thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you appreciate this series of lessons and steps. You see how all these things apply to drawing, how all these exercises, whether you take 5 minutes or 25 minutes per session, are going to help you level up your abilities in a crazy way. Thanks for watching. If you want more help with this concept, then go to the blog post in the description box. I wrote it just to help elaborate upon some of these exercises. This video is a great demonstration for the blog post. They sort of feed each other. It's a good system. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Taylor Payton of thebeginnerdrawingcourse.com, where you can find courses to elevate your drawing ability and create more excellent worlds and works that will help you express yourself and help you create based on fundamental principles that the masters have handed down to us, that we are always constantly learning and sharing with others. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Happy drawing.